recent months, we've all seen fights going viral that take place on board cruise ships. By the way, the video that you just saw at the beginning was a fight that took place back in March on board the Carnival Horizon. I just wanted to use it as an example. But these fights happen not only on Carnival ships, it takes place on Royal Caribbean ships, it even happens in theme parks. Everywhere you look, there are going to be the potential for scraps and brawls to take place, where there are a bunch of people getting together to have a good time, and maybe there's some alcohol involved. But for today's video, I don't want to talk about why I believe these fights are happening, but more so how we can find a solution to hopefully decrease and maybe eliminate all the fights that are taking place on board cruise ships. From what I've gathered from all of your feedback and what I've been thinking about myself, I've narrowed it down to 3 possible solutions for the fights to slow down or stop when it comes to cruise ships. The first one is that we add more security. We get somebody big and strong who's ready to take on whatever challenge is presented in front of them. Next, we have the possibility of harsher punishments to do things like completely eliminate people off the grid from the cruise ship industry that start fights or scuffles on board cruise ships. And finally, we have the most popular option, at least from what I've seen in the comment section from all of you when it comes to this particular topic, is to increase the price of cruises for cruise ships. Anybody with $100 right now can essentially jump on a 3 to 4 day sailing and have an enjoyable experience, given that somebody that maybe has had too much alcohol or cheating on their husband or wife or whatever the case is trying to have a threesome doesn't intervene and have a scrap in front of them. Now, I will admit, I do personally understand the thought process and the reasoning as to why a lot of you out there think that simply raising the price for cruises should stop some of these fights out there. However, I have kind of a different take on it somewhat. Whenever you book a cruise, or let's say somebody that doesn't have a lot of money books a cruise, you're naturally thinking you're going to get somebody that's poor or ignorant or whatever the case is. However, those are some fine lines because there are good people that don't have a lot of money, and there are some people that are willfully and unwillfully ignorant, and maybe they just need to get an experience out there to learn exactly how to navigate in this crazy world that we live in. For me personally, I look at it from terms of personal value. It's like when you are 16 or 17 and you buy your first car. There's a difference in people that buy their first car, they saved up, busting tables, or whatever it was they were doing for their first job, making pizza, whatever it is they were doing to save up to buy that first car. I remember my first car, it was a 98 Dodge Spirit. It was the most horrible thing, and it broke down in the middle of summer. But my point is, if you had to work to earn something like get that car, or you had the car given to you by your parents and the first car they got you was a brand new Mercedes or BMW, you are not going to value that gift that you got as opposed for the thing that you actually worked for. I look at cruises the same way. If you buy a cheap cruise versus actually saving up money or paying for a more expensive cruise and experience overall with excursions and the balcony stateroom or a luxury suite, you're probably going to value it and love it more and appreciate it more and treat yourself accordingly and treat everybody else accordingly, as opposed to if you were to just buy a cheap cruise willy-nilly for $100. Now, to be clear, I do not think that prices should increase for cruising, because my whole thing with this channel and any other YouTube channel that I have, I believe that the world would be a better place if everybody traveled. I believe it should be affordable for everyone because it expands your mind, and it is arguably, well, it's not even arguable to me. It is a fact that traveling is the best education that you could ever get when it comes to the world and how to conduct yourself by not being so ignorant and looking at your own perspective versus the perspectives and lifestyles that everybody else is living from around the world. With that said, however, cheap cruises versus expensive cruises, I do think, as the old saying goes, you do get what you paid for. By the way, I know some of you are probably going to say something about Carnival in the comment section. Carnival is the poor cruise line. It's where you go when you are balling on a budget. However, I did a light search on the 3 largest cruise lines in the world, out of which being Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and NCL. And upon that search, I found that Royal Caribbean had the cheapest cruise at $100. Well, $99 a pop. Now, given when you include things like the port fees and the taxes and the excursions and the drink package and all that, I think it all evens out because it wasn't much of a difference, but they all had prices floating around $100. Either way, Royal Caribbean still had the cheapest overall. Anyway, that was just a little nugget of information, but I do want to make it clear, I do not believe that we should go back to the days of Titanic, of Jack and Rose, not the sinking part, the part where there's just rich people and then you got the poor people down in the bottom decks, and anybody that actually wanted to cruise had to have a little bit of money. All I'm saying is I believe that you should probably let this whole thing play out People have a lot to learn in life in general. It doesn't matter if you're pink, orange, tall, short. There's a lot that needs to be learned from people in general, especially as we come out of this pandemic phase where a lot of people are staying inside their house, not being social, and well, just not exactly having a great time. And now they're exposed to the world once again. So maybe harsher punishments might be the solution. There was talks and people saying that the cruise line should all come together as a whole and essentially create like a group, and saying that if one person gets banned from one line, they are banned from all lines. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I do want to hear from all of you, of course. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And just know that I love each and every one of you. I'll see you soon. Take it easy.